Hey guys, J-Man here. All right. I haven't done a live stream in a while. There's been a lot going on in my personal life, so I just haven't been able to do anything. But this is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and the opportunity finally came up. And that is to talk with another fan. So this is the Amazing Fans, and we want to talk about a certain character. So today we're going to talk about one character, the creative process, all that stuff, and our love for this character. Created in 1992 by Todd McFarlane. This is after him and the L Boys and the Image guys left Marvel, formed their own company, Image Comics, took the world by storm. Probably the most popular character to come out of that entire Image run. I know Savage Dragon is still going, but this character has been going strong for over 300 issues, which is a massive accomplishment, considering a lot of top tier Marvel characters don't even get past 30, 40 these days. Of course, we're talking about Spawn, who has had animated series. He's had a live action film, and over 300 issues. So it's no fun just me talking about it alone. So we're going to bring in a regular guy in the channel. So you've seen him a lot. Today his name is usually Simp for Wanda, but it's Simp for Tom McFarlane. How's it going, dude?
Yo, it's good. I've been planning for this stream for a while now.
I've been looking forward to this one because out of all my buddies, you know everybody, Sean, Steve, all those guys, they were never I didn't know them when Image started, and they weren't into the Image characters as much as I was. Now, just to give a backstory, and then we'll let you tell your story. But when I was going to the shops every week when the quote unquote L Boys, which is Lee Liefeld, who's the other guy? Silvestri, who's not an L, but their last names are all L except for Todd McFarlane and Mark Silvestri, and they're all L Boy. So Rob Liefeld calls them the L Boys, it's all the L guys. So Todd McFarlane, they all left. They left Image. Now, I was collecting the Todd McFarlane solo Spider-Man series. Prior to that, Todd McFarlane had been an artist of my who I had a lot of admiration for. He did a lot of the Peter David Grey Hulk stuff, which I absolutely love. I've kept all those comics from childhood.
Wait, really?
He was doing Amazing Spider-Man, doing a great job on Amazing Spider-Man. So much so that Todd McFarlane sort of brought that character back after a little bit of a slump. Spider-Man, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they gave him his own series, and they're like, you know what, buddy, do whatever you got to do. And I absolutely love that series. He did the first 14 issues, I believe. The 15th issue was Eric Larson. That's one of the L Boys. Eric Larson took over duties, I believe. And then on the 16th issue, he drew, collaborated with Rob Liefeld for an X-Force crossover with Spider-Man where they fought the Brotherhood. And there is a famous shot now where you see Juggernaut and Shatterstar has a sword that's coming up towards his eye, and Todd McFarlane had drawn the sword penetrating Juggernaut's little eye hole.
That was him?
I believe so. And then that garnered a lot of like Marvel guys were like, whoa, you can't do that. And Todd was saying, why? I thought I had free reign on whatever I wanted. And they're like, no, you can't do that. This was one of the things, and literally the cover of that, it's a sideways cover. It actually says bye Todd. Spider-Man is saying bye Todd. And I had that issue as well. So I had all of those issues. So when all that went down, they started Image Comics, and there's a whole thing on Image you can watch on YouTube. And Rob Liefeld, Youngblood, #1, that was the first Image comic that came out. Spawn was very close after. I'm not sure if it was the second one, but it's very close. And
it was one of the first ever
one of the
ones
first ones. Yeah.
I think they released them all on one day, but I could be wrong.
Youngblood was first. 100%. That was the only comic that came out first. And I think a lot of the people were like, let's see how this does. I still got my Youngblood. I have 2 copies of Youngblood #1. And so then Todd McFarlane, who I thought was a phenomenal artist. I love his Spider-Man take. I know his Spider-Man and his Spawn subsequently aren't. Sometimes people say the anatomy is weird or like the way the poses are. It's a bit weird, but I think to me it was very dynamic, and it just stood out to me as being something very special. So that's why Todd McFarlane kind of stuck for in my opinion. I thought his Hulk was a very good Hulk. I also liked his Scorpion drawings. I liked any of the characters that had like sleek, muscular look. I thought that Todd handled those characters very well. Okay, so Spawn number 1. I picked it up, and I'll tell you my thing real quick. I picked up Spawn number 1. I was like, wow, this is great. The art was sick, killer stuff. And then number 2, I missed. I couldn't find it, and I was heartbroken. And then I got number 3 all the way to 50, but I missed number 2, and I ended up getting it later on, when I went to like some comic show and picked it up. So Spawn, I mean, I loved Spawn. So we're going to get into all of the stuff with Spawn. So I started with Spawn day 1. I followed all these guys as they left their comics. Jim Lee leaving X-Men and all that. All these guys going into Image, and I followed them all. And I literally bought every Image comic that was out there. So, when did you get into Spawn, and what happened? What's your backstory with Spawn?
All right. It started off with like going through that phase of looking at older comic book movies that never got a sequel and never became big, and I was just like going through them, like wondering how these were bad and how these failed. Granted, I was a child, so I didn't know right from wrong back then. I thought the Fantastic Four movies were good. Anyways,
I think they're fine. They ruined Galactus, but
no,
everyone ruins characters now. Taskmaster's ruined, Mandarin's ruined. That's like the new thing. Anyway, continue on.
But one of them was Spawn, and I was like, I like this, but it's not really for me. Then go up to like, I want to say 13 to 14-year-old me who wanted to become a comic book drawer, like a comic book artist, heard about Todd, and then heard about his animated show. So I was like, what is this? And thankfully, HBO Max was on Amazon Prime. I mean, HBO, not HBO Max, was on Amazon Prime. So I watched it. Granted, I should have not watched it as at that young of an age with some of the things in it. And the moment it opened up with Todd McFarlane in doing his like what this episode has to deal with, like for the first episode, it was like, if you were given the choice to come back from hell to see the one that you love, would you do it? And I was like, this is very interesting. And then got into the episode. I started falling in love with it to the point where I just binge watched the whole series in basically a few days. Nice. And then I had to get the comic books, and then that's how I got here.
So how are you been? Okay, do you have everything for that with Spawn? I was there like from day 1. When they announced the movie, I was super looking forward to it. I bought the poster, which is very rare now. It's the 27 by 40 one sheet poster, official. First, the advanced release where it was just sort of like a silhouette of his face with like the green eye. I had the soundtrack on CD. I had the movie on a crappy DVD, and then they came out with like this better edition DVD.
Oh yeah, they released the movie. They had to make it PG-13, but then I think when they released it on disc, it was like rated R version. So
this is a director's cut. This is the tin of the animated series. So this is the collector's tin of Spawn. And also I had every Spawn toy. I literally had every Spawn figure that came out. The only one I kept was this one. This isn't one of the first classic ones, but I kept it because it was just, and you can actually fold the wings up, and like it comes down and they'll like open up or whatever. So I just thought this was really cool. This is the only Spawn thing I have left from that time. I didn't want to sell everything because I still love Spawn. I wanted to keep something as a memory, but you see my stuff. I have so many things. I can't keep everything. I do have a small little Spawn that's up there on my shelf. We could talk about the toys because they're very important. But
that's what I'm going to bring up later.
Yeah. Okay. So the comics. So do you have like the actual individual issues, or are you getting like trade paperbacks, or what are you doing?
I basically go to the comic book store, and then whenever I can find one that I think I don't have or that I want, I get it. And that's usually what I've been doing. But because I have so many comic book stores and there's so many issues that they probably don't have all of them, right. Sadly. It's been hard to find all of them, but I do have a good amount. And I'm still building.
Do you have number 1?
Yes, I do.
All right, nice.
And
nice.
sadly, I wasn't able to get that signed at Comic-Con 2019.
Yeah.
I was able to get this one signed.
Nice. What number is that?
Damn it, I don't know. But it's one of like the first 20.
Okay, yeah, yeah. It's like I don't remember all the covers. I remember some of the covers. The first few I remember very distinctly. Todd stopped drawing Spawn. I don't remember at what point he stopped drawing it. So I don't remember, but he did stop at some point because he moved on to toys, which was like something that he was very passionate about.
I mean, he got back into drawing it like close to after the toys like stopped going down, because for issues 300 and on, he's
back.
Yeah,
so he's back on pencils, I guess, right? He's doing the pencils.
I think he's doing both. I think he's working on both because of like the whole toys that have recently come out.
Yep. Well, the Spawn toys. Now I'm a toy collector. Duh, you can see. I've been collecting toys my whole life, and I basically tried to not. I don't think I've lost a lot of toys growing up, but not all of them. I still have a lot. Yeah, I know you've got all that. I'm not talking about like action figures. Now, when the Spawn ones came out, Angela, Spawn, Medieval Spawn, Overt Kill, Clown, Violator, the Max. That was a cool toy. All of these early ones, I literally bought them all. And I remember going to the comic shop, and Sean will know this place. It's called Silver Snail. It's a high-end comic shop. It's 2 stories. It's actually 2 stories high. And the second story had the figures, and the first story had the comics.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
And we went up, and literally just imagine an enormous wall where you can't even reach the top of just the McFarlane toys. And like it was, and we'd just be like, oh, I want that one up there. And the guy would have to come and get the friggin' staff and like get it down for you. And we bought them all. And then I did sell them because I kept that Spawn because like other characters, they weren't as interesting to me after a while. I'm like, I loved Medieval Spawn. And Angela I always thought was really cool. So but the toys, what was important about the toys was that at that time we had never seen action figures that were that amazing before. A lot of the action figures were very basic looking. I don't really have anything to compare to. I mean, I could pull stuff off the shelf, like nowadays you see these awesome action figures where you're like, wow, this is good. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Todd McFarlane started that, where it became more than just an action figure, it became a collector's item. Now, some might say that was sort of the downfall of making cool toys for kids. But the thing is, the McFarlane stuff wasn't really for kids. It was sort of for like my age group.
Because kids usually play with their things and then get bored of them and then throw them in the closet. While collectible toys like these are meant to last on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were still good quality. Like I've had this. So, because I don't like NECA, to be honest with you. Like Todd McFarlane stuff, this is still in one piece, and I dropped it 1 minute before I streamed. It was on my desk.
I saw it,
and literally, he's fine. Like this has been moved around. Like when I moved out of my mom's place. Well, we moved into another place, and I had it. And then we moved out of that place, and we moved into here. My wife and I are now living in this place. This thing has been packed, repacked, opened, fallen down. And even with this, you'd think this would be flimsy. It's still pretty good. So the quality of these toys were not garbage, and he's somewhat posable, right? And it's not like NECA where they make these great looking toys, but if you drop them, they shatter into a million. I dropped my Alien and Predator figure, and they shattered into like pieces. This guy will not break, right? Now, it's not toy tested, so it's not to be played with really, but you can still have some posability out of him and do something with him. So it's not a flimsy piece of crap. So Todd McFarlane was the first guy to make toys that were like still pretty good quality and looked good also, which seemed to be a trade-off. It was either playable, which means it didn't look very good because it was sturdy, or it looked really cool. It was almost like a statue, right? Where if you tried to pose it, you might break it. So you'd have to keep it in the packaging and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw you had some figures. You want to show off some of your guys? I'll make it full screen for you.
It's going to be hard to slide it out and all that. I'm only going to show off the first one because it's basically kind of the same.
Right. Wow, it's an awesome box. Is that Hot Toys or what is that?
No, this is basically last year they announced that they are redoing the first ever Spawn toy. So the OG just Spawn himself action figure. And the Spawn fan that I am, I got all three versions. So basically the original version, the new version, and the version that goes to the painters, so they paint it out.
Right.
And
so this is, what are you showing us right now? Which
this
one?
is basically the original version.
Yeah.
This is the revamp. Oh god, yeah, I get.
There's all that stuff in front. Yeah.
Like paperwork and all that.
Yeah, they pack it up really nice. Oh yeah, there you go. Yep. So I had that, brother, when it came out, man. I had that.
This is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that figure was very, like, it was mind blowing. Like, we were just like, wow, this looks incredible. You might think that compared to right now, maybe it doesn't look as fantastic, but it was very, like, it was awesome when it came out. We were blown away at how amazing it was. And that really started a whole big thing with these figures, like, where people were like, oh, I got to get this one. And then there's different versions. And Medieval Spawn, I thought, looked really cool.
Oh yeah, Medieval Spawn is really cool.
I also like, I forgot his name. What's the Angelic Spawn? What the hell's the guy's name?
I forgot too, but that's because
what the hell's his name?
I just call him Angelic Spawn.
Yeah, am I gonna have to look this up now? Really, on a live stream, I gotta look this shit up. Good version of Spawn, or I don't know what was his name? Redeemer, I think it was called.
Oh yeah, Redeemer.
The Redeemers
and Spawns.
Yeah, the Redeemer. Let me just check. Spawn Redeemer. Let's see. Yeah. Oh man, the Redeemer figure was killer. He was awesome. But yeah, Medieval Spawn was just like the craziest ever. And like now that figure looks like, just like an ordinary toy compared to all these other figures. I'm trying to see. I actually have, you know what? I can grab these. Hold on.
Wait, I'm first going to bring up the original, like
Okay.
the new version of the original so everyone can see it better.
Yeah, do that.
On share screen.
Yep. Oh, okay. Let me share your screen here. There you go. Check that out for just 2 seconds. I'm just going to grab the... all right. Huh? Okay, so these are not Spawn, but yeah, that's awesome.
He also redid the comic book completely.
Oh, cool. Oh, that? Oh, not that, but there was like a picture just before that. If you go back one, if you just scroll down, where was it? Scroll. Okay, right there. Your finger. That right there. Your finger. Yeah, that. I have that. It's like a very small thing. I've got 2 of those.
Dude,
it's
your
like
audio is like, it's only, oh wait.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I've got that. It's like a small little statue. I've got like the miniature statue version of that. It's really neat. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
He took time away from Spawn toys to do Spawn statues.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay,
that would be awesome. Okay, so here's these guys. This is from the same line, but so this is the Youngblood character.
Ooh,
right. So like this toy was pretty crazy, like when it came out, because you're like, wow, like it's like pretty detailed. And then on the back here, you can see. I can show you all the characters on the back. So I had all of those. I didn't have Wetworks, but this bottom row, these 2 rows that you can see, I had everything there. All of it. I had all of that when it came out.
That's a lot.
I was a big time, and there's even some on here that I had that aren't even on here. This is Series 1, Series 2, Series 3. I probably up to Series 5. I had everybody. We were like hardcore into it. All right, so I'll put those down. So The movie. So was the movie the first thing you saw?
It was.
So what'd you think of the movie? I mean, like
The rated PG version. When I was a kid, I was like fine with it. It was nothing. It was nothing new, but nothing not new. I don't know how to say, because as a kid, I haven't really seen as much. All I seen were the Dark Knight trilogy and the Marvel MCU movies.
so how does it stack up compared to that? It's hard for me to rate that movie because I loved it. I saw it in the theater opening night. I had the poster, the soundtrack. Like I was jacked, and we walked out of that theater. Me and my buddies were like, "Dude, that was badass!" Like, and the clown was really creepy, and we loved it. Like, anyways, yeah. So yeah, did you like how did you think it held up to like something like Dark Knight or whatever?
Well, the Dark Knight. I think it wasn't as good as the Dark Knight, but it was its own thing, so I was fine with it.
Right.
But then when I got older, I saw the rated R version, the version that was basically almost everywhere.
Yeah.
Because of home disc, whatever it's called. Basically, I thought it was a lot more cooler.
Oh, I can't hear you now. I think I've lost your audio. Can you hear me? You're muted. You're muted. Oh, there you go. No, you're muted. No worries. Well, I love the movie. Like I saw it in the theater. Like I thought it was great. I don't know if anyone else has seen the movie since, if they think it still holds up. I mean, it was of that time. It was really cool, and like the cape and the way they did this, the CGI was really neat at the time. I mean, now maybe it's not as cool because there's just so many other superhero movies, that have come out. But we thought Michael Jai White was really cool. They did change stuff from the comics, and there's reasons for that, which I'll get into. But yeah, I mean, let me know, guys, what your thoughts are on Spawn the movie. I mean, for me, it was great. I bought the DVD and then I rebought it again.
Hello?
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, we're back.
Yes, my brother's headphones are just trash. Okay.
So now in the comics, it's Chapel, who is a Youngblood character that kills Al Simmons.
Yes.
Now
I forgot his name.
Right. Now in the movie, they switched it. This will be fun for you.
I already know why, but you can tell it.
Yeah, no, tell it.
Because the thing about Image Comics that really made it big is that everyone owns their own characters. No one owns someone else's characters.
Right.
So if someone left for Marvel or for DC, their characters goes with them. So
yeah, and Image still does that to this day. So that's the reason for that is a long story, but it's basically that the artists were just like, you know what, we want to own our stuff.
Do you think we can talk about that?
Sure.
Alongside Todd McFarlane's history.
Yeah, why not? Because like, I mean, Rob Liefeld is the guy that I follow the most. And his whole thing was like he created Deadpool and Cable and Domino and Shatterstar and Gideon and who else was in that? Like that one issue had like 4 or 5 characters that he created, and he didn't own any of them. And I mean, Deadpool is surpassed so many characters now that like Deadpool is more known than like Fantastic Four almost, right? Like it's like he's so popular. And now Rob Liefeld still gets money for that, but that's about as much as he gets. It's like he'll get, he gets credit as the creator, right? And I think that pissed all these guys off, and they're like, you know what, we're just gonna do our own thing, and then we're gonna own our own characters.
All right, but before we talk about anything else, we have to bring up the man who has always been known to be, whenever one of them is brought up, the other one always shows up with him. Todd McFarlane, the man who basically brought to life his character and saved many other characters from falling down into being forgotten, in my opinion. When he was a kid, he used to trace over comics and like notice all the mistakes. So he used to always fix the mistakes in his drawings and then send them off to the companies, basically applying for a job, because he was a really big comic book fan. Now each time they turned him down, and when he was with his wife, I think girlfriend and boyfriend at the time, he had over 200 different job applications for Marvel, DC, and I forgot the ones that are basically dead at this point. And they actually hired him. He just worked on a couple. He basically, before he worked on them, the spider webs weren't like this. They were just noodles.
There is another artist that did similar webbing to that, and Todd McFarlane sort of enhanced it to be more like this kind of whipping, like circular kind of webbing. You can so he made that super popular. Spider-Man.
Yeah, before that, Marvel was basically says don't do this and don't do that with the webbing, and after that, they basically just says do this and do that. And other characters that he worked on was with the Hulk.
So Hulk, I like the Gray Hulk stuff. So you can do like Tom McFarlane. Yeah, there you go. So like I've got that one. I have that. Anything Gray Hulk. Gray Hulk's one of my tattoos. So yeah, that was one of the 300. He copied his Spider-Man.
He also worked on Batman and kind of saved him from a ditch that DC got him in. And basically he co-created Venom. One of the people who worked on Crane was Venom because he came up with the idea for the black spider suit. That was his idea, and they basically made a story about it, and that led to the birth of Venom.
Yeah, now that's the series right there that I also had. So I don't have the first appearance of Venom, but I've got all of like I really like the stuff where it became like the solo stuff, which is it's that cover that's where he's crouching, like with all the webs around. That's number one. Yeah, that's number one. I had every version of that number one. There's 3 different versions of that number one. That is not one of them. That looks like a trade collection or something. But there's 3 different versions of that. There's like a platinum one. I had that. Yeah, that's from it within. From within. Now, when he was doing the Hulk stuff, Peter David was writing Hulk, and Peter David did a 10-year run on Hulk, and he basically like made that character his own. And then after that, I don't know if he did Spider-Man at the same time, but when he got his own Spider-Man series, like that one that you were just looking at, and that first picture right there with the lizard, I believe that's issue like maybe 3 or something. I don't remember exactly. I sold those as well because they sold so many copies, they're not worth anything. Like you could buy Spider-Man number 1 right now, no problem. It's like that was like one of the highest selling comics of all time. People don't list that one a lot because I think like they don't like nobody's really paying attention to how these comics are sold. Tom McFarlane is responsible for a lot of top selling books. And
after everything he done for these characters, they kept trying to put on restraints on him.
Well, this is what they do, right? Like this happens in films, and it's like you get free reign sort of until they don't want you to have it anymore, and they want to try to get it back. So like Spider-Man, like Hulk was doing good because Peter David is awesome. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, when they gave Todd his own Spider-Man book, at that point they're like, you can do whatever you want. And that's why those Spider-Man books, he fights like Wendigo, he wears the black costume for a while. That lizard thing was the first arc, that was pretty crazy. That stuff was a little bit darker, and Spider-Man wasn't doing his quipping and his being all funny. It was a little bit more serious and a little bit darker. And I remember, and even the pages were even like black and some, and you're just like, wow, this is like really, really crazy. So it was a very different Spider-Man, but I still liked it because it's funny in movies. I don't like change as much, but in comics, I don't mind it because comics are every month and you get bored if it's always the same thing. So they change it up a bit here and there. And I really like this series. I collected the first 40 issues of this series, even after Todd left and Eric Larson, I think, took over. I still collected it, even just because I liked it. And then they gradually, once Todd left, they switched it back to sort of your normal happy Spider-Man story. But those first 15 or whatever, do you have any of those Spider-Man?
No, I don't.
They're worth getting he only did the first 16, and out of the first 16, he didn't do number 15. So they're definitely worth getting if you're a Todd McFarlane, if you're specifically a Todd McFarlane fan, because I think it's really good. And I liked it. I was collecting I never missed an issue of Spider-Man on that. And then that led me into Spawn, right? So I think it'd be interesting for you to check them out. And they're probably not that expensive, to be honest. You could probably get them pretty easily.
All right.
But yeah, check those out.
With everything, with Marvel and DC basically holding artists and writers like Todd McFarlane back and not giving them the credit that they deserve, they decided to left and create Image, and these are the founders.
There's your boys, yeah.
Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Eric Larson.
Eric Larson, yeah. Mark Silvestri. It's so small, but I just know the names. If I see kind of the name, I can't remember. I know that guy. That's
Do you want me to?
Make him big. Portacio, yes, that's it.
And
Valentino, yes, yeah,
Valentino.
So
they created Image the way that it is now.
Eric Larson, I believe, is still doing Savage Dragon. He's drawn every single issue of Savage Dragon, I believe. There's one issue where he had a guest writer, and then he went back and redrew the issue later. So he's done all, I don't know how many, there must be up to 300 of Savage Dragon, because that's been going on since as long as Spawn, and he's done every single issue, I believe, of Jim Lee is obviously is not there anymore, right? He's with DC now, right? And who else?
He did some art for the Zack Snyder's Justice League plan 2 and 3.
Yeah, see, all these guys got broken up because Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld went back to Marvel for the Heroes Reborn stuff, and that was like a big. Todd was not too happy about that, but they're all buddies now, and they make fun of each other, and they're all cool with each other. I still have Cyberforce, and I've got a lot of the Image stuff down here. I have like a little. I only kept one small box, we call them a short box. I only kept one short box of the Image stuff, mostly the Rob Liefeld things, just because he's a cool guy, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like him, which is fine. I don't care. But so the animated series, that was a big thing. I want to say something about the movie as well. And you can look up Melinda Clarke if you want, Melinda. She's my favorite. I met her. She plays Jessica Priest, and I've got her autograph, and I got a picture with her. So the girl who plays Jessica Priest was my absolute favorite. She's at the top row, Melinda, the redhead.
No.
And do Images or whatever. So she's been in like tons of stuff. So I've met her, and so she was the replacement for Chapel. They called her Priest. Now, if you look up Melinda Clarke and do Return of the Living Dead, Part 3, it is a great movie, and she looks killer badass in that. So I got a chance to just talk to her a little bit about that movie, and I also met the director of that movie and got his autograph as well. And we talked about Melinda when I met that director as well. So that's her. in Return of the Living Dead Part 3. She becomes a zombie, but she kind of retains her knowledge.
Wait, is that the guy who plays Mario in the Mario?
No. That's not
Okay.
Bob Hoskins.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's her. So she's a smart zombie.
Is she a good zombie or a bad zombie?
She's a good guy. She's a good guy. She
kind of looks evil though.
So the reason she has all that stuck in her is that as long as she's feeling pain, it dulls the hunger. So she keeps inflicting pain on herself in order to stop the hunger for the brains and everything. That's part 3. That's a great series, Return of the Living Dead. The first one's a little bit more comedic, but has a lot of great gore, and the second one's a bit more comedic, but this one is a bit more serious. And they're creating an army of zombies. Like the government is literally taking zombies and putting exoskeletons on them and making them into robots, and they're controlling them.
What the?
Yeah, so that they control them in these electronic things. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyways, so I met the director of that movie, and I met her, and I had a picture with her and all that. I'm not going to show you the picture because I look completely awful in it, and it was my first celebrity that I ever met, and I didn't know how to smile properly, so I look like a super loser goof, and I wish I could cut myself out of that picture. If she ever comes again, I'll meet her again and not act like such a loser when I meet her. But she was in the movie, so I loved her at the time. So having her in that movie, Michael Jai White, who I thought was a great martial artist, John Leguizamo, who I thought was very, very good in this movie as well. Plus, they had Cagliostro, who was played by I forgot the actor's name now. He played Merlin in Excalibur, which is one of my favorite movies. So this movie had a lot going for it. And the CGI, as you know, it looks dated now, but it was pretty cool back then. And seeing Violator was really cool, and he's like smashing them. And you'll be interested to know that Roger Ebert gave the movie a favorable review, saying that its visuals were stunning and it's showing us things that we've never seen before. So it just goes to show you, at the time of this movie's release, it was really pushing the boundaries of what you could do with CGI. And I appreciate it for that. Now, it'd be great to see a brand new Spawn live action film, which Todd McFarlane keeps saying they're going to do at some point, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But I mean, Michael Jai White is so cool. He could probably still do Spawn, right? Because I mean, he was Bronze Tiger in Arrow, so he could technically. I think he's done other martial arts movies. He was in Black Dynamite. I think he could still be Spawn if they really wanted him to. But I don't know. Is that Jamie Foxx that they're saying? Who's that? Who are they saying is?
Yeah.
I mean, Jamie Foxx is Spawn, but the thing is, Spawn's in a mask all the time. Like, is Jamie Foxx going to wear that mask all the time? Like, you just know he's never going to wear the mask, right? Like,
well, basically, the movie isn't really about him. It's about the two detectives.
Oh, Sam and Twitch?
Yeah, and guess who's playing Twitch? Wait.
I don't know. Like Jim Carrey or something?
No.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why does it have to be about Sam and Twitch? I want a movie about Spawn. I don't want these other side characters. Like, they were cool characters. Their toys were good.
Well, they're gonna make it like a horror movie, and they're planning on making it more like horror than
more than fantasy.
Yes.
I mean, to me, Spawn needs to be fighting big monsters and stuff. Like, that's sort of what Spawn is to me. Trying to make it it could be gritty and violent, but with monsters. I don't want it to be like a dramatic, you know, like a super heavy drama where it's like it's so far. Like, I don't want them to Dark Knight it where they remove the fantasy to the point where it's not even, you know, it's not even a comic at that point.
Well, it's most likely what they said is that it's going to be basically the two detectives trying to figure out what's going on, and Spawn's going to be the background reason, and It's them leading into them figuring out who's behind it.
Yeah, I don't see that already is not interesting to me at all. I want Spawn. I don't like these movies where the main character or the thing we're watching is not in it for a long time. It's like, what am I watching this? Like, I want to see Spawn fight guys. I don't need the origin was told very quickly in the first movie. It was fine. He killed, like, he wants to see Wanda. I'm cool with that. I understand that he wants to see his girlfriend, like, who, you know, or his wife or whatever. He loves her. So he's like, sure, yeah, I'll be your Spawn, but like, I want to see my wife. And then he's like, then he's like, you know what, screw this, I'm not going to be your Spawn because that's bullshit. I like that. I like that Al Simmons. One of the good things about Spawn was that like he was the ultimate rebel in the sense that he rebelled against everything. It's like, you know, they don't call him the devil. They use one of the other devil names. I can't remember.
Malbolgia.
Malbolgia. So which means the devil. So the Malbolgia is like, you know, I'll make this deal with you. And he's like, you know what, sure, I'll make the deal. Then he's like, you know what, screw you, I'm not making this deal. I'm gonna do whatever I want. I love that. I thought that was great. He's like, I don't give a shit about your stupid thing. And that was what was cool about Spawn. And he was like the ultimate FU. It's like he did what he wanted, and you know, and he was a good guy. Like he helps the homeless people in the alley, and you know, and so that was the cool. That's what made Spawn different. Like visually, he looked cool, but visually, he was. Look, he had Spider-Man's kind of mask. He had like a Batman kind of cape. It's not the most like unique visual character of all time, but
I love the mask. I love how
cool,
the white works on the mask.
Yeah, so it's like he combined cool elements. It's like Deadpool's not really that original in his look either, right? But like they combine a lot of cool things to make him like a unique silhouette. Like if you saw that without any coloring, you would be able to tell it was Spawn, right? So that's the important thing. So they picked enough unique elements to make him stand out. And his character was unique and different than the other superheroes, so that made him stand out as well. So I don't want to see a movie where they turn this into some, you know, CSI or some shit. It's like I want to see Spawn fighting monsters. Like when he was fighting Violator, say what you want, in that first movie, I was like, wow, this is crazy. He's like, they're kicking the shit out of each other, and Clown was just like a disgusting piece of crap, and his makeup was amazing. Like Clown's makeup, I like. John Leguizamo was unrecognizable. Like we're literally watching this, we're like, what is that really John Leguizamo in that makeup? Like, oh my god, like it was crazy. And that movie's what year was that movie? 93 or 95 or something? Maybe 95. What year is that movie?
1997.
97? Okay, 97. Yeah. That's pretty damn good. So anyway, yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, I haven't watched the cartoon in a long time though. I should watch it again. Is it? I don't even know if it's on Blu-ray or not. I think
it's on HBO Max.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I own it. I own the tin, so I upgraded because I used to have a really crappy copy of it, and then I bought the tin, which is very nice. I'll show you guys a better. So this is the tin.
Do you want to know what I do now recently?
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, I recently, like I want to say last year, started to rewatch it again and again. And at the beginning of the first season, Todd always says, "Now is Spawn. So turn off your lights." I now get up and turn off all the lights, and then once I'm done with an episode, go run around the house, turn them all on, and then
the next
just wait for him to say yes. Just wait for him to say, awesome. Now turn off your lights.
Yeah, Spawn and Savage Dragon are the only two characters that I believe survived from that original Image thing. I know Brigade came back a little bit with Rob trying to bring them back, but Rob doesn't own Youngblood anymore. So I think he gave up a lot of those characters. He does own Prophet, which I think the most successful was Spawn, and then the second most would be Savage Dragon, because Savage Dragon still comes out. But Spawn is way more, he is the most successful and the only character that really people kind of know or care about from the beginnings of Image. I mean, it's still going. Dude, I'm at the shop so I was just at the shop on Tuesday, and like I'm seeing Spawn comics there. They're still in the shops, and people are getting them. Like people want it, so they're doing something right.
About that, I'm gonna save that for the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, yeah. So 300 is a milestone book. A lot of comics don't even get to 300 now because they reboot them or interest just goes away. You know, like there's no Black Widow issue 300. There's not even a Black Widow issue 100. I don't think. Like none of these characters really go that far, right? That's cool. That's a cool cover. Are these are all the alternate covers or?
Yes.
Yeah, there's so many alternate covers.
I have, wait, let me check which one I have. Oh, wait, no, this is for Spawn issue 301, where they had a celebratory cover
Oh, that's
with him
cool.
holding the crown and him on top of all his other issues.
Issues. That's awesome.
And on the back, it's really special.
Wow, thousands of pages, thousands. Wow, that's awesome.
100 of characters,
What's
dozens
the
of
grading on that?
huh?
What was the grading? What was nine? Is that 9.8?
Huh? It is 9.6.
9.6.
And then on the back, it has a picture of Spawn issue 1 and him with his daughter. And then
Wow.
his daughter is now a doctor.
I almost because you're such like a fan, it would have been great to have. It would have been awesome to have you around when those were coming out because like you wouldn't believe the shops at that time. It was insane. Like people were fighting for these comics, and like when I used to go to that that comic book shop, and you go upstairs, we would immediately run upstairs. Where's the Tom McFarlane shelf? And it was you couldn't. I'm telling you, you can't reach the top. You're like, wow. You have to stand back to see everything, and you're like, wow. And I remember like, oh, I gotta get Redeemer. I don't have him. It's like, oh shit, there's a new Angela. I gotta get Angela. Like, it was so crazy. Like, it was the
Was it
boom.
like Black Friday?
Oh, well, it wasn't quite that. Well, I'm in Canada, so our Black Fridays are not your Black Fridays. You're in the
So
States,
basically,
right?
whenever you kick someone by accident, you say sorry.
Yeah, and usually people don't get kicked by accident too much over here in Canada. We're pretty.
I mean, during Black Friday, you like
Even
push
during
someone
Black
over.
Fri-
Sorry, mate.
I've gone Black Friday and everyone's fine.
I'm sorry, I had to make that joke. That all Canadians say sorry.
We do say sorry though. Anytime I bump someone, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, and I'm like, and it's like anytime it's like we both say sorry. Both people say, oh, sorry. Even though I bump them, they'll say sorry. It's like
Whenever I kill someone in Rainbow Six Siege with the Canadian operators, I always say sorry.
We do say sorry. That's not a lie. We say a and all that too. But like that's not a stereotype. We all do say it. It's so funny. But we still get angry at each other, and we still fight with people. Oh, Andrew, hey, how's it going, dude? Yeah, we were talking about the movie. I mean, I liked it. It came out. I saw it first day. I got the poster, the soundtrack. I loved it. I thought it was great. I was reading the comics at the time every week. Or every month. I had the first 50 issues. I don't know how many issues came out at the time of that movie, but quite a lot, I would think, by that time. And I loved it. So I'm always open to a new movie.
Wait, I'm looking for the image. Wait. There it is. Todd McFarlane in the movie.
He's one of the guys in the alley.
He plays one of the homeless people.
Yeah. Yeah, see, he couldn't have the cape all the time because the CGI. Yeah.
The studio told him it has to be PG-13. It can't be. I think PG-13 was the only problem they gave him.
Yeah, because the thing is that back in those days, rated R was like the stamp of you're not gonna get your money back, like unless it was a horror movie. Because like, see, Spawn wasn't horror enough. Like most people thought rated R just meant really gory or whatever, and Spawn wasn't really like a gorehound movie. Like it's like I love Friday 13th and Halloween, so we want to go see a bunch of people get killed in gruesome ways. And Spawn really isn't about that. There's more of a story going on. There's more like character, stuff. So it's not just like a kill 'em thing. So they're like, well, we need to make it PG because we need to make our money, or PG-13 to get our money. But that's why when you got it on home video, like I just bought the director's cut, and then they're like, that's fine.
Fun fact: every time they brought the movie to get rated, every time it got rated R, besides the last time.
Yeah, the MPAA, Motion Picture Association of America, their ratings are wonky as shit. And the other thing too is like it depends. It almost depends on their mood. Like you might slip something by.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, PG-13.
Yeah, well, PG-13 was sort of created.
Gremlins, PG. No, PG. No, Indiana Jones 1 and Gremlins were PG somehow, and Jaws was PG too.
I think Gremlins was PG-13. I believe, I'm not sure. And Temple of Doom was definitely PG-13 because those movies created that rating. Because Spielberg helped create that rating because he's like, well, he goes, I want to get a PG, and they're like, well, it's too weird, it's not PG. And he's like, well, they came up with this other thing. Now in Canada, we don't have that. in Canada, if it's rated R, nothing is rated R in Canada, hardly anything, because rated R means that you have to be like 18 or older no matter what to go see it. We don't, so we have something called 18A,
And they will hate me seeing rated R movies when I was young.
Yeah, see, like I always use American Psycho just because that's a famous movie. So I saw American Psycho in the theater with the full nudity in it and like the entire sex scene with him like posing in the mirror while he's with her and all of that and that was normal. Like Canada, our rating system is very loose. Like you can go see I can't remember ever not being able to see a movie for some reason. I remember they didn't let us into Time Cop with Van Damme because we were just under the age limit or something. We're like, well, this is so stupid, but like we could see Friday the 13th, but not Time Cop because somehow they had messed up on the rating or something. It was so weird. But yeah, in Canada, we have 14A, and we have 18A, and then rated R would be like almost like where you're getting into like where there has to be a lot of nudity. Even like Watchmen was 18A, so which means you could go if you were under 18, you could go with your kids or whatever. Like your kids could go see Watchmen. Yeah, you could go see Watchmen in the theater with the naked Dr. Manhattan. So we're pretty loose on that. Like our TV, you could turn on the TV at like 5 p.m. and there'd be nudity and stuff on TV, and you're like, okay, like no one cared. We're pretty loose in Canada for that. What about the HBO sponsors? Yes.
I think we got finished on time about that once you came in, but
so that's we all like that when I got the special edition tin. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up in about 10 minutes. What do you want to what do you also want to talk about? You want to talk about the comics some more?
I first want to bring up this.
Sure.
It's a crossover between Batman
and Spawn.
Yes.
Oh, I have Batman Spawn. Not that cover though, it's a different cover. Mine looked different. Maybe this was a newer, maybe they combined again. Oh, you know what? It's the third one in. The third picture in from the top. No, next one. Sorry.
This one?
Yeah, click that. That I have that. That's what I have. I have that one. I should still have that somewhere. That should probably be in one of my bins in storage. Yes, I had that comic when that came out. So I don't know if if they did it again or if that's a different version.
I think it's a different version, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so that I've got that one.
All right, the original toys.
Had it. I sold it.
They basically wanted to like do the same thing that they did with Todd's Spawn toys, but Todd said no. So he created his own like brand.
His own brand, yep.
I think it was called Todd's Toys back then.
Well, no, it was called McFarlane's Toys.
Oh, McFarlane Toys.
McFarlane Toys. So even though, see, this is a Rob Liefeld Youngblood character, but it was still McFarlane Toys. So McFarlane Toys had the license to, even though image creators own their own creations, McFarlane Toys still did the figures of them. So it was cool because you got Wetworks. Now Wildcats was a different company, I remember, which the Wildcats figures weren't compatible with the McFarlane Toys. From my memory. But yeah, this I got this. I had that. The entire first wave, everybody. Like, yeah, it was, I think it was called Overkill, and they changed it to Overt Kill for some reason. They had changed the name. I can't remember why. But the Max was cool. Did you ever watch the Max? MAX. Yeah, check that out. It's also Image Comics. There's toys of him. His comic is very weird. It's a bit surrealism. It has a lot of surrealism. So it was on HBO as well, I believe. It might be on there right now. It's called The Max, MAXX. So check that out if you want to see a different kind of. It's still Image Comics, so it's still part of that kind of thing, and it's weird. It's a weird cartoon, and it's really cool. I got the DVD of that as well. That and Spawn were my two favorites from those animated things.
All right. And lastly, I think we got to talk about. Wait, we gotta talk about Spawn in modern times because recently Spawn became big with Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
and with issue 300.
300. Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing I want to bring up is that even to this day, after characters have gotten movies and shows to themselves. Wait. Oh, wait, this is the wrong one. In June, wait, let me click it, please. In June, Spawn Universe was the second top selling comic book. Even though Joker had his own movie and Batman, these characters are big, but Spawn gets number 2.
Yeah, Spawn is like the thing is to the comic book guys, the comic book nerds, Spawn is still a big the problem is that regular people, the normies, as we say, they're not there yet. Like they it always takes them a long time to catch up to stuff. It's like, I mean, 300 issues of Spawn. I don't know. Well, one issue just came out recently. What are they on now? Like 305 or something, or what is?
No, I got 3015 recently.
So they're already on 315. Okay. So do you go every week and get it, or every month and get it, or do you?
Basically, I just go whenever I go, and I get new and old comics depending on what there is.
You should get a pull list. I have a pull list at my shop.
Well, the problem is because I have I have like 6 to 7 different comic book shops in my area alone.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you don't know where to. Is Spawn the only comic that you're collecting right now?
No, but it's the main one that I'm collecting right now.
Right. Yeah, so it's like the digital, and if somebody out there wants to start with Spawn, they can start getting some of the digital collections on Comixology because they're pretty cheap, and you can get it right now. Like, it's so easy, and I don't think digital comics are bad. I get digital comics all the time. I'm collecting 15 comics right now, and about 10 or 15 of those are digital. So I don't think it's a bad thing to get digital comics. You can't, I can't put everything in boxes. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to run out of space. So yeah, I definitely think people should just go on there. And I'm looking right now to see what they've got for Spawn on there, for Spawn collections. And there's like a lot of good ones. Yeah, Spawn.
One of the Todd told a story about, which I love because I think other comic book companies should do this, is that basically he was at a panel and kids were talking to him about how cool Spawn was and how he's their favorite. And then he brought up the fact that he's actually a black person. And they were like, wait, what? Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah. And it's so cool hearing about that because it's like getting you to fall in love with these characters first and then getting you to know more about them. And it's not what other comic book companies are doing right now. And this was back then when it first recently became big.
Yeah, so I remember when Spawn came out, and it's like, okay, he was a black guy. And the thing is that we didn't really care too much about race and gender back then. We just thought this is the character, and nobody really thought about it. Now it's one of these things. Like I'm recently watching Star Trek Voyager, which is a very diverse cast, and females, males, different diversities, and it's like back then it was just like, well, that's just what the show is. And yes, there may have been some pushback, thinking like, oh, this is weird, or they may have questioned some characters, but it's like it's just accepted. And the thing is like, he created Spawn, he was a black guy, and they're like, okay, that's it. He's just a black guy. Nobody was like, well, I'm not reading this because he's black. It's like, no, nobody said stupid shit like that. Like, people are trying to pretend that was a thing. Like, oh, people didn't care. It's like, well, it was a new character. It was a new company, new character, black guy, and it did well, and it's still doing well now. So it shows you can create characters of different diversities, and they will do well if the character is cool. The character has to be cool and well written. That the two criteria are cool character, well written. The criteria is not has to be a strong woman. It's like, no, you can make a strong woman, but she has to be good. Like everyone likes Wanda. Nobody likes Captain Marvel. Why is that? Wanda's
Because-
super powerful, right? Because the writing sucks.
Wanda is a caring mother who still mourns for her husband, but still pushes on, and who would stand in front of her daughter if danger was coming towards her daughter.
She's a character. She's a real character that you can get into, and it's like she has feelings and emotions, and she's a real person, and you can like her, you know. And the more that they showed her, especially in WandaVision, we're not going to talk about WandaVision, whatever. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Wanda Maximoff. I was talking about Wanda from Spawn. Wanda.
Oh, I was talking about Wanda. I was just saying, comparing.
But it can go for both.
It does go for both actually, because Wanda is.
Yeah.
But no, I was just saying that, like, in comparison to like what they say, like, oh, they can't create new characters because nobody will like them. It's like Spawn was a new company, new character, black character. So that could have been 3 strikes in the way people think now. They would call those 3 strikes, but because Spawn was a cool character and he was written well and the art was good, he became big and he's popular, and he's still going now after 315 issues. So the people who keep saying that these things are not good, they're the ones that don't have the imagination to make it good. Like they can't break through their own prejudices really to see something new and be like, this is cool. So Spawn's a great example for that.
Make a gay Captain America, even though they could make a new character.
Right, make a new character. You know, and if people like him, you know what the problem with making?
I don't care if someone's gay or not. I only care about their character themselves and what they.
Yeah, Aurora, North Star's gay, and he's been gay from Alpha Flight from like 100 years ago. Well, not 100 years ago, but he's been gay like since he started. Like, I don't know when he was created in the 70s or something, or 80s maybe. I've got Alpha Flight #1, so I don't know if that was his first appearance. But he's gay, and it's like nobody cares because he was gay from the beginning, and that's just the character. It's like changing someone later.
He was likable.
Yeah, he was likable, and he was a cool guy, and he's cool, and he's cool now. And that was the first, I think it was maybe the first gay marriage in comics was him and his partner. And I actually have that issue as an X-Men.
Who was his partner again?
I don't remember the guy's name. It's a human guy. He doesn't have any powers.
So it's just like a side, not a main character.
Yeah, it's not like Lois Lane and Superman. Like I don't remember the partner's name. He's still married to him though.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Like I'm reading current X Factor, which got canceled now. But anyways, in current X Factor, he's still married to him, I believe. So, all right, guys. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Any final words on Spawn?
I just hope Spawn's movie comes out.
Me
too. Please, Blumhouse, come on.
All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. We definitely want a Spawn movie, and we want it to be good, and we want it to be crazy good effects and awesome action and all that stuff. But all right, man. Well, this is a lot of fun talking about Spawn here. Right. That was great. Okay, guys, we're gonna end it off. Am I live tomorrow? I'm gonna try to do a live stream tomorrow.
If you still want to do the Zack Snyder talk, I'm up for that because
we did do that. But everybody wants to do that, though. That's the thing. It's like that's what everybody wants. That's why I thought when you like Spawn, I thought let's do Spawn because Spawn's not getting enough love. There's already enough Zack Snyder love out there that he doesn't need any extra love. But Spawn needs extra love. And you
why not a Assassin's Creed video?
We can maybe do an Assassin's Creed. Right. I've played one game though, and I haven't even seen the movie, so I don't know anything about Assassin's Creed.
All right,
but we'll figure something out.
All right,
but okay.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks. It was awesome.
Even with all the issues.
Yeah, that was fine. All right, guys. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.